This is Elizabeth Stephen, librarian at Western Libraries. This is a short video on how to use Mergent Online to do some financial comparison. So go to Mergent Online, go to the Business Research Guide, select Mergent Online. Mergent is a financial database. It does focus on publicly traded companies, both US and international. You can search for private companies by selecting the private company database. Like your previous video, I'm going to use Facebook as an example, and I'll show you how to look at the current and historical finances, as well as look at information related to investment research, as well as look at the finances of Facebook's competitors. So I can go ahead and type in Facebook. This is the main page for Facebook. I'm going to skip past most of this and go directly to company financials. One of Mergent's strong points is having both current and historical financials. The financial information here for Facebook or for any company defaults to 5 years. You can go back as far as 15 years. Because Facebook just became public more recently, some of the financial information the farther back you go will not be as robust. If it is a newer company and you're not sure how far back you go, you can do all available years. If it is an older company and you want to see if they go back even farther than 15 years, you can select all available years. You can change the time period. Mergent defaults to annual. And then you can look at the type of financials. Mergent offers kind of the big three when it comes to looking at financial health of a company: balance sheet, investment or income statement, and cash flow. Balance sheet, that's going to give you the assets and liabilities of a company. It's really kind of looking at what a company owns. The income statement, it really looks at profit and loss, so revenues and expenses. And the cash flow will look at the cash and cash equivalency that is moving in and out of a company. So these three statements will really give you a pretty good idea of the financial health of a company. So I'm actually going to look directly at the income statement. I want to do 5 years, currently as reported currency, as reported scale, and then click refresh. And those 5 years are listed here. I can download this into Excel. I can print this directly from here. If I want to look at quarterly, I can do that. As I said, if I want to go back 10 years, I can do that. And then I can go back and look at, again, balance sheet and cash flow. Other financial information available here: ratios, standardized prelims. Ratios are available here: profitability, liquidity, debt, asset management per share. And you can also look at the other available information, looking at prelims, standardized, looking at the standardized annual income statement, and then the restated annual income statement. In addition to company financials, you can also look at the equity pricing. Equity pricing is going to give you the stock price. So you'll see what you start with here is the close as of the most recent date, the highest, the lowest, the average price, and the average volume traded. If you want to look at a specific time period and look at stock price for a company, you can do that as well. And you can also do a company comparison. So if you want to look at Facebook plus its competitors, you can do that and then see how their stock has fluctuated over a certain time period. The reports available on Mergent, first of all, you can get the annual reports. I talk about how to get to those and how you might want to use those in the first video. There are also industry reports and equity reports. The industry reports in Mergent are pretty broad. Facebook is listed under technology, which is a pretty broad industry and might be somewhat useful, but really for what you're doing, especially when you're looking at income or finances, it's really not going to be that helpful. What I want to point out are the equity reports. Equity reports are investment reports, so they really tell you whether you should or should not invest in a company. So you'll see you have Facebook equity and then you have competitors, the Meet Group, and then Twitter, Facebook equity report. So what this does is it gives me a rating. So number 3 is neutral. This neutral rating means whether you should or should not invest in a company. So this is neutral, and again, that's meaning, They're neither really hot on investing or really low on investing. These reports are usually pretty short, they're about 4 pages, but what this can do is give you a snapshot of a company and really kind of its current financial health. If a report is telling you that you should not invest in a company, that is one indicator of the financial health of that company. These are really useful when looking at a company's competitors as well. If we go back and look at Twitter, consider this one of Facebook's competitors. You'll see to a certain extent their overall rating is neutral as well. Strength is neutral, their relative valuation is negative, and the price movement is positive. If you were to go back and look at Facebook, strength is neutral, valuation is neutral, movement is positive. Looking at a competitor's equity report or investment report can be really useful. If you look at several different companies and they are operating in the same industry and they are all having some very similar issues when it comes to investment, maybe they are all neutral or they're all, low or they're all high, that's telling you something about the industry. If you have 3 competitors and one is very high, yes, you should invest, and one is very low, you should not invest. That low is telling you, those lows and highs are telling you something specific about those 2 companies. Next, I want to talk about the competitors tab. In the competitors tab, you can look at the competitors of Facebook. You can also develop or build a competitor report where you can build an analysis report of your company's competition. The list of companies here are those that Mergent sees as Facebook's competitors. This list is usually developed from an industry classification, and within Mergent, that industry is going to be technology. So a lot of the companies here are really not going to be that relevant to Facebook. So while I could add all of these companies to an analysis list and then create a competitor report, I don't want all of these companies. This list gives you a fairly broad overview looking at revenues, net income, etc. But if you want to get further and deeper into some of the financials that are also available under the financial tab and then compare across companies, the best thing would be to build a competitor report. If you click here, you can create a competitor report. The competitor report brings all of those listed companies, and then I can choose from them. I want to go with Facebook, Alphabet, which is Google, and Twitter. And I'm going to move them to my report. And then down here under data items, I can select the information I want to see. I really want to stick with the pricing and the financials. So I'm going to look at the pricing, which is going to give me some stock pricing. And then I want to look at company financials. Now here, again, I can select the type. I'm going to do as reported, annual. I'm going to go, no, we're going to do a period, so 5 years. And then down here, I can select the ratios. I'm going to leave everything as is, and then move all of that over. And then I can select the format. I'm going to do this as an Excel. And then once you open that report in Excel, it gives you some basic information on the company, business summary, then you have your pricing information, company financials, and it does this for each company as you scroll down. Then within Excel, if you want to manipulate and move this information around, you can do that as well. You can save in multiple formats, so you can also do this in Word, a PDF, or even an HTML document. Using the information that you find here in Mergent and going back to some of the other information that is available from some of the other resources can be a useful way to get an overview of a company. If we go back to IBIS World and look at the social networking sites industry report, if we start here on this page, if you click all the way over here on key statistics, you'll get some industry data and industry ratios. So if you take some of the ratios, the company ratios that you may find in Mergent, and then you can use IBIS to look at some industry data and some key statistics and see how Facebook or any other company compares to other companies within that same industry. This is a quick overview on how to use Mergent to do a financial overview of a company. If you have any questions, please let me know.